Alright, so today we're going to be dealing with the calculus problem in which we find the volume of an object created by rotating an area around the x-axis. Our given curves are y is equal to x cubed, y is equal to x, and we have the restriction that x is greater than or equal to 0, which just means that we're only dealing with this side of the graph. As you can see, we have our x cubed right here, and our y is equal to x, and the shaded region is the area that we need to find. Our formula for area is equal to pi r squared, and in this case, when you rotate this object around the x-axis, you see that we get a hole in our object, and we need to account for that when we're finding our area. The way we do that is we subtract the inner radius from the outer radius. So area is equal to pi x squared, because r is always squared, minus pi x cubed squared. And you end up with pi x squared minus pi times x to the 6th. Well, since pi is a constant here, you can take that out front, and you end up with pi times the quantity of x squared minus x to the 6th. We could take out x squared from these, but since we need to take the integral later, it'll make it easier if we just leave it like that. And we end up with area is equal to pi times the quantity of x squared minus x to the 6th. Alright, the next step is to plug it into the volume formula, in which volume is equal to the definite integral of the area with respect to x. We plug in our area, and we get definite integral from 0 to 1 of pi times the quantity of x squared minus x to the 6th with respect to x. Pi is a constant here, so we can always put constants out front, and we end up with pi times the definite integral from 0 to 1 of x squared minus x to the 6th with respect to x. Alright, when you take the integral of x squared minus x to the 6th, you end up with 1/3 x cubed minus 1/7 x to the 7th, and it's on the integral 0 to 1. So when you plug in 1 and 0 and subtract them from each other, you get 1/3 minus 1/7 for 1, and then minus 0. And I'm going to assume that you guys know how to combine fractions. And your final answer, you end up with 4 pi over 21. This right here will be the washer that will be created from this object. And this is just the area that you would get from the cross section.